From your brackets to everybody's mock drafts, I'm starting to remember why March famously makes everyone mad. There is a madness that seems to be infecting every corner of the sports world, and I guess that's how we like it. I want to start with a fun fact, though, right out of the gate. Something I learned yesterday that I want you to learn today. Happy birthday, William Shatner. He turned 95 years old yesterday. Wouldn't have guessed he was that old. You know what else I learned from Codify Baseball on Twitter? Babe Ruth hit 149 home runs after William Shatner was born. That's the kind of stat that gets me through the day. That's the kind of stat I see and I say, hey, Renee, you're generally familiar with the concept of Babe Ruth, right? Uh-huh. Do I have the stat for you? Welcome into Everything Else. I am Joshua Brisco, Tucker D. Franklin, producing D Show behind the proverbial glass. And we will talk a little bit about the round ball sport that's taken over all of our lives in 4-day increments, and we'll talk a lot about the state of where the NFL stands right now. Mostly, this will be a place where if you're a sad KU or Mizzou fan, you can largely, I suppose, be saved from the sadness of your end of week or weekend. And if you're a sad K-State fan, you're used to it this year. So. Not a lot of needling going on from one fan base to another at this point because, as is usually the case, it just sort of seems like everybody's sad. But if you thought you were going to get to look to the rest of even the NFL world for a little reprieve, you're not going to find it. I have gone mad with basketball and grown sad with the mock draft industrial complex. Alec in the chat says, Star Wars came out the same year as the last guillotine execution in France. Time is weird. Conky Joe says, Snickerdoodles don't contain Snickers. The best thing about opening with the William Shatner Babe Ruth stat was the hope that you'll just sort of pepper the chat with those the rest of the day, and we'll just intersperse them throughout. I'm always a fan of recalibrating to the way that time passes, because up close, your days can move slowly. You can look up and a month's gone by. And then sometimes you realize, like, oh, some of these people from lifetimes ago weren't actually that long ago. And sometimes you think, man, none of us are going to even survive until the draft actually gets here. It's all about perspective. The only problem now with me inviting that into the comment section is that I'm going to have no way to fact check that live. Because I'm here, and I also have to keep talking. Tucker's doing a bunch of things. Eventually, Tucker will also be on screen and also talking. So, like, this one doesn't sound right from VF is Epic. The fax machine is older than the telephone. That seems like something maybe I've heard before, but it doesn't sound right. But I looked up the Babe Ruth William Shatner thing, because I was like, let me make sure this isn't a joke, because I can't tell. Adam says, I was dangerously close to leading into an AI ad. You know, the days are short, our lives are short, our months are long. With my new tool, TDAIF, Tucker D. AI Franklin, you too can produce an endless supply of football content for just pennies a year. I do also need to make billions of dollars for all of my investors. Sharks! That's why I'm coming to you today. No AI ad today. I'd like to take a stronger stance about AI advertising and when we can form Tucker D.A.I. Franklin. Because I do think it seems like all they have is money. No one else has any money. It seems like they have all the money. If we could just get some of that. Anyway, I talked about all of that on Friday. I can't do 2 of those shows in a row or else people will start getting angry at me. So let's go to a old reliable. Who wants to talk about Todd McShay? It's a good question from Seamus. If AI starts chugging seltzers, we're in trouble. That, AI data centers use all of the water that the rest of the world could possibly use. Tucker's AI, Tucker D AI Franklin, doesn't use water to cool all of his processes. He just uses energy drinks and hard seltzers. Hard seltzers, white monsters, and that, true as it is, Tucker is a machine that turns hard seltzers and Monster Energy into workouts and podcasts. We already have that. Nothing artificial about that intelligence. Kangaroo says, Wikipedia says the first experimental fax was built in 1843 by Alexander Bain. The telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. How's that possible? What are the odds that the guy who invented the fax and the guy who invented the telephone were both named Alexander? It's a fun fact just for me. The last surviving widow of a Civil War veteran died in 2020. She was 101 years old. AI Chungus? Okay, I'm gonna click away. AI Chungus has to be the last thing that I say from the comments until I at least give you something. Some reason to be here with us today while I get sad about the state of the NFL draft. This was going to be largely what we talked about on Friday until, as I discussed then, until I just sort of got angry at Mike Florio, which, to be clear, has been a way that I have self-funded several radio shows of topics, just general anger in that direction. But the way that things were going at the end of last week have really meshed perfectly with how this week has started. I don't want to get too far ahead on this particular angle of it because Tucker and I are going to talk about it more in a moment. But within just the last few days, we did get Todd McShay saying that the 2027 quarterback draft class is just going to be the greatest quarterback draft class ever personally stitched together by God himself, which he also was saying about this year's draft class a year ago, but don't let the details get in the way. Dan Orlovsky is now making the case for Ty Simpson being QB1. The only surprise here is that Chris Sims didn't get to it first. I think he still had Simpson at 2, brave as he is. So now Orlovsky's on that. Great. Mike Tannenbaum wasting no time to tell you that he's also hearing that some teams think that Ty Simpson's the best quarterback in this draft. Awesome. Glad to have that. This might just serve as another reminder that we have left the section of time that I think you can genuinely learn things about where teams stand regarding players leading up to the NFL draft. There will probably be a couple of pockets of things here or there that turn out to be true. There's probably something you're going to learn in the first week of April, the second week of April. You're going to hear, man, Team X really loves player Y, and maybe that'll work out when the draft comes around. But more often than not, at this point, what else are we here to learn? There's still some pro days, right? You're still getting some 40s and some measurements, and there'll be a little bit of data that way. But we have had not just an entire college football season, but these players' entire college football careers. We have had the combine. The interviews at the combine have happened. You'll have your top 30 visits, so teams will have players in to get some extra interview time, and of course to look at the medicals for players with medical questions. But we are fully now within smokescreen season. Like it or not. Maybe it's not a smokescreen from Dan Orlovsky. Maybe it's just fill another segment on Get Up season. And you can watch it or not, but you shouldn't be making any bets on it. So from mocks that seem to miss the point to the rumors of where players are rising and falling, I'm really shrinking my circle on who and what I care about. I'm gonna just like throw a little bit of shade in one particular direction here, and then I'll tell you some things that I do think might have mattered from these last few days. But the aforementioned Todd McShay, who like has actually been doing this for long enough that I think it's worth like remembering that he's doing the work on some of this. This isn't just like total slop. But I clicked on Todd McShay's new mock draft today, where the Chiefs take Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU, at 9 overall. I think a common pick for people who think the Chiefs traded Trent McDuffie and let Jalen Watson walk so they could invest more in the cornerback position again, I suppose. I don't think there's a 0% chance. I'd rather them take Delane at 9 than any offensive tackle, but I digress. In McShay's blurb on that pick, he says, there are also whispers about Jeremiah Love being the pick if he's still available. I add parenthetically, a crazy call out to make after the Chiefs have just paid Kenneth Walker all this money, and it just doesn't seem like Love is in any real conversation to be there at 9, but whatever. Weird thing for him to mention. An edge like Reuben Bain Jr. or David Bailey would also be in play if they're still on the board, as would a tackle such as Spencer Fano. Now, in this selection, the Chiefs pass on Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson. Carnell Tate has gone, but receiver 2 and 3 are still on the board when McShay pulls the trigger for Delane. Then at 29, McShay for the Chiefs selects Illinois edge Gabe Akis. I'm going to read you a section of his blurb. Quote, I didn't go into this exercise planning to give Kansas City 2 defensive players in round 1. Ideally, I would have liked to use one of those picks to support Patrick Mahomes. One way you could definitely do that would be by taking one of the top 3 receivers at number 9 overall. And when he mentions helping Patrick Mahomes, he mentions receiver, Jeremiah Love, or a tackle. We've talked about the tackle thing a lot. I'm guessing we'll probably talk about it one more time in earnest sometime between here and the draft and just be like, man, I hope this isn't what they do. There was an entire conversation on the Athletic Football Show. I don't know if it was yesterday's episode or today's. I was listening to some of it this morning, and they did like a mailbag thing about positional value and how many offensive linemen you really need. And they ended up having the conversation of, well, you know, Jalen Moore, it's only 1 year. I just, maybe this comes back to bite me, and maybe at the end, maybe in a month, I'm going, holy smokes, well, I disagree with the team again, and that's not really a place I want to be in. I hope they don't pan out this way. But I need an absolute mountain of convincing that a tackle at 9 is a reasonable conversation to be having. I need about as much conversation to consider a tackle at 29. Once you get to your 3rd or 4th selections in the draft, the book is wide open for me. But where you're selecting now, one of the things that, again, I like the Athletic Football Show. That's why I listen to it. I don't listen to Get Up's audio feed, for example. There was the conversation of, well, you know, they got Josh Simmons in the 1st round last year, but the Chiefs don't have a lot of chances to take a tackle prospect with just no questions. You know, a surefire tackle prospect. And I would ask, who are we talking about in this year's draft class who is a surefire tackle prospect with no big questions on their scouting report? I don't know who that guy would be. No one seems to actually call that, even though now you just sort of have to pencil one of those guys in at 3. And then today, Jackson Smith-Njigba becomes the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. These things are all connected for me. You can at least bring this web together. So today, JSN gets a 4-year extension worth $42 million per year and $120 million guaranteed. Now they have the 5th-year option, and this is I believe a true extension. So his average pay over the arc of the next many, many years is lower than 42 per, but the extension, $42 million per year, $120 million guaranteed. And I think they're, expecting that, first of all, he's a great player, and you have a number 1 wide receiver like that, you pay him. I don't know who the best receiver is who has hit free agency in the last, I don't want to say 10 years. Probably needs to be the last 5 years. Who's the best receiver who hit free agency in the last 5 years? I'm not sure. You don't let those guys go, even though it's a lot of money. You assume the cap keeps rising, the contracts keep being given out to the top of the market, and then by the time JSN's 2 years into that extension, maybe he's the 6th highest paid receiver in football. But Robert Mays, of the previously mentioned Athletic Football Show, he posted this on social saying the wide receiver average salaries accounting for at least 10% of the cap when signed. As of right now in 2026, there are 13 wide receiver average salaries that account for at least 10% of the salary cap at the point of signing. 13 players taking up 10% of the cap, wide receiver. In 2016, there was 1 wide receiver taking up 10% of the cap at signing. The import of receivers has been rising and rising and rising, even as the talent level overall has been rising and rising. Every year in the draft, we talk about, man, look at how many great athletes, how many great talents, how many incredible prospects are coming out at the wide receiver position. Every year, that's the message now, and they continue to be paid more and more because these are playmakers, these are game breakers, these are difference makers. So receivers get paid this way. From cornerback at 9 to offensive tackle at 9 to all of the different ways that the Chiefs target areas or areas of need, the way that all of these have been laid out over the last couple of months. I think the Chiefs are done in free agency, pre-draft at least, right? I think Cam Jordan after the draft makes a lot of sense. Maybe they end up calling him back sooner than later. Maybe they're waiting to see if Mike Dana comes back. I don't know. But in terms of impact signings, the Chiefs' free agency is done in top-level signings. I think their free agency plan this year makes sense if, and this is the serious part, only if number 9 overall is a wide receiver or a pass rusher. And 29 overall probably needs to be the other. It could be corner. That's another premium position. Again, I don't think that can or should be the pick at 9. And they're going to need to draft multiple secondary defenders in this draft regardless. But the entire structure, what I am seeing, not what I'm hearing from anybody, no one's feeding me truth, no one's feeding me a smokescreen. So I'm just trying to take a logical look at the picture. And the JSN contract doesn't change anything today. It's just a good reminder of where things are at. The Chiefs are a couple of receivers short in the long run, and they're at least one receiver short right now for 2026. They are a couple of defensive linemen short for the long run, and they're at least one starting defensive end short right now. You can spend your free agent money on a safety and a running back and a defensive tackle, a 2-down run-stuffing defensive tackle. You can spend your money there if you're finding the value with 2 first-round picks at 2 premium positions of need. It's not just take receivers, even though you've been taking receivers this whole time. A right tackle could be a premium position. It's not a position of need for this team right now that has needs at premium positions. The question there becomes, is there going to be a player who fits that category worthy of your pick at 9? That's where you have to have contingency plans. And I think you just have to be able to look at your board and say, yeah, I think there is. But is there a disaster pathway to where you're stuck there at 9 going, oh man, I don't love any of these guys, and we just struck out? I think there's a reason to be a little bit fearful of that, because I think the board could fall in a way where other teams are also making that read. Another update from the last few days, also from Dane Brugler, who's one of the people who I do care about, who is perpetually gaining more information and building out the beast. He talked about Jordan Tyson, the Arizona State wide receiver, and the injury issues. And Brugler sounded really hesitant about Tyson, where things stand right now. He talked about his hamstring popping up again and again, and there being a hope that he'll run some routes before the draft. That's different than, with Josh Simmons getting injured at the time that he did and the recovery just pushing all the way through there. I just haven't heard anybody be the optimist on Jordan Tyson from an injury perspective yet. I haven't heard anyone be that person yet. Maybe someone will. I don't want to say, well, if he's Sammy Watkins. Hey, if he's Sammy Watkins, he's actually probably worth 9 overall. The in and out and the injury frustrations were maddening. Sammy Watkins is going to go down as one of the most underrated pieces of the Chiefs' Super Bowl curse-breaking run and that era of football. But I digress. Also listening to Brugler talk about just kind of the way the board falls, and if Tyson is a little scary to the touch right now. It really just seems like it's a crazy class to have a top 10 pick in as things stand. I think we do a little bit of this every year. Go, oh man, this is, it's be a great year to have the first pick, but it's a bad year to have 9. Oh man, this would have been a great year to have pick 12, but it's a tough year to have pick 6. There's just some ebbs and flows to that. I don't think anybody needs like a real victim complex on, oh man, the Chiefs had a good pick and it was finally a bad draft. There are going to be more than 10 excellent players out of this draft class. You just have to find them and figure out what's worth that for you. But Dane in a athletic football show going through his rundown of the first 4 picks, he sounded relatively confident, just kind of rattling off Mendoza, Reese, the Miami offensive tackle, and Jeremiah Love as the 1 through 4. And they talked about it being a good year to collect edge rushers, even though a lot of this conversation has been that there is not a clear number 1 edge rusher, where Arvell Reese is going to have to be a little bit of a project just in terms of making him the weapon you want him to be. If you're hoping he becomes Micah Parsons, that's still not a sure thing. Ruben Bain, his film is amazing. His arms are short. We've gone through the David Bailey thing. We've covered all of that. The idea of it being a good year to collect edge rushers, I find interesting. Dane Brugler has 6 edges between 29 and 54 in his top 100. 6 edge rushers from 29 to 54. The Chiefs have 2 picks in that range. He has 16 edge rushers in his top 100. And Dane said that there are 3 edges who will, and I think that's including Reese, who will go top 15, maybe top 10. Maybe is an interesting word there, because the panic around here is that Ruben Bain won't be there at 9. And if he is, certainly the Chiefs would take him, right? If Reese, Bailey, and Bain are your 3 edge rushers, and Dane thinks they're all going top 15, maybe top 10, that implies there's some more questions there, and I've seen the questions come by of like, hey, do the Chiefs move up for Ruben Bain? I'm just not doing that. I don't think as things stand right now. I think there's as good a chance that Bain goes 9 as there is that he goes 4, which also seems possible. 2 through 8 seems like a real question right now. But none of them are Will Anderson, Myles Garrett, whatever, like your clear dominant, this is the guy you're going to plug in and just start for 10 years and you'd give him the contract extension tomorrow if you could. I'm high on Ruben Bain. If he's the pick at 9, I'll be thrilled. Even as, and this might be a good kind of full circle on where I'm at right now, I'm not willing to fire 2 bullets to pick 6 instead of 9. And thinking specifically about the depth of the edge group, I think I'd rather the Chiefs take their favorite edge at 29 and their favorite edge at 40. Just double dip back to back right there, rather than have to package those 2 picks together to jump up to, I don't know, 18 or wherever 40 would get you. That's a different conversation than jumping 9 to 5 or whatever it would be. But assuming that Carnell Tate is probably gone by 9, seems like there's a very good chance that Mekhi Lemon is still on the board. I'm still at a place where if I can get one of the edges or one of the top two receivers, with a big asterisk on Tyson being the third there, I think that's just the game you're playing for. It seems like there is a pretty clear delineation between the top two or three receivers and the three on in that second or third tier, again, depending on where you put Tyson. At this point, I don't really want to play the cobble it together wide receiver game. I think everyone who has gone to the offensive line well as a help Patrick Mahomes bit of logic could be making a much stronger case by just giving the Chiefs a receiver at 9. I think that's the best path, because here's the other part of it right now. Again, we've talked about short-term and long-term and all of the, this immediate year and beyond. Who are you confident that Patrick Mahomes will be throwing the football to in 2027? Where is there a 100% chance that this player is going to catch 20 passes from Patrick Mahomes in 2027? It's a contract year for Rashee Rice. Hard to see that second contract right now. Xavier Worthy, probably going to be around. Is he going to be a piece or a guy? Jalen Royals will probably be on the roster. Don't know if he's going to catch any passes. Just genuinely don't know what they think about him right now. Tyquan Thornton, probably going to be on the roster. It's a 2-year deal they just gave him. So probably Xavier Worthy, probably Tyquan Thornton, probably the end of the list. I know who 4 of his starting offensive linemen are going to be in 2027. Pretty confidently. Not like bet your life on it confident, but pretty confidently you know who his left tackle through right guard are this year and next year. I'm perpetually a little bit surprised that more of the league doesn't look around and look at the Chiefs wide receiver depth chart and just have sirens going off. And maybe that was too easy of a move to make at some point, but seeing the hand in glove fit that Mekhi Lemon would be for a lot of the things that Andy Reid seems to want to do with his receivers in this offense. Again, I'd still love Carnell Tate, but if I have my choice of either of those two guys at 9, I'll be okay. Something, again, that just comes around with the news of the JSN extension. Imagine Patrick Mahomes once again having a truly dominant offensive weapon to work with. And I don't mean a running back who takes the load off his shoulders. I mean a guy who he is targeting when it gets hot. Who do you target on third down? Who are you targeting in a playoff game? Who's the guy that you're going to build that rapport with for the next 5 or 6 years? I was here at the end of the regular season. I'm still here now. I hope it's a receiver at 9. If it's Bane, totally fine with that. But unless you're hoping that Travis Kelce is going to play into his 40s, you've got some real questions to answer here in a way that I don't know that the Chiefs are currently prepared to answer. Let's go ahead and take our time out here. I'll go through some of the comments you've been flying through. I also need some more fun facts of time not seeming quite real. But you know what's going to seem even more insane? We're going to take a break here for like 60 seconds so you can watch some possums, and we're going to be back. And Babe Ruth will hit 3 more home runs. I got some comments pulled up, but more importantly, we got Tucker D. Franklin pulled up. Tucker, I know this on some level is going to be not good, but how's March Madness treated you? Are you having fun outside of
Yeah.
your annual Mizzou letdown?
Well, yeah, it's kind of become. I think we were talking about this when Mizzou did lose on what was that Friday, late Friday night, and I was like, I've almost gotten to the point now where it's like I don't try to anticipate anything from that team just because they'll just hurt me if I do that. It'll just hurt a lot worse if I think that they're gonna do good. So I just don't think they're gonna do good, and it ends up being pretty beneficial to that regard. But yeah, I didn't really anticipate much of that, but it's been a good tournament so far. My bracket that I filled out just before the whole thing started has been doing all right. I'm just not a very big college basketball person, truthfully. Like until the tournament rolls around, and then I become a little bit bigger of a college basketball guy. But like, I don't know, it doesn't really captivate me mid-season, if that makes sense.
I don't think I watched a single regular season college basketball game from start to finish this year. And until Florida lost, I had a really good. I was in like the 99th percentile of bracket
Mm,
challenge participants for a while. I'm
yeah.
still like 96 or 97. I had Florida in my championship game, which of course
Wow.
is because they're a one seed whose mascot I like. I really do enjoy just sort of clicking names.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that John Calipari was at Arkansas. Like I just
Yeah.
there is stuff that I'm reminded of every March. We're just like, is Tom Izzo still coaching? Let's find out together on TBS.
Mm-hmm.
On True TV, we're gonna figure out, does Bill Self still have it?
It's the only
Um,
time of the year people actually go to True TV on purpose.
it's gotta be right. Like it's I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's 350 days a year. It's Impractical Jokers, and then you get some March Madness.
Yeah, and look, shout out to those jokers for making all that money, but for me, it's a little bit repetitive for my own liking.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's
and
not
I,
for
I
me.
very much don't like awkward like that stuff of like, it's different than like a skit, right? Like a skit is
Yeah.
very different than like actually going up to people in public and making things awkward. Like that stuff makes me feel uncomfortable too. So I don't necessarily like to watch the jokers, but all respect to the jokers, I do appreciate what they've done for the game.
I think I also can't remember if those are the people that just pretty recently had a like multiple members of the squad had some stuff pop up. I don't know. It's not my
Yeah,
team, not my
no,
squad, and I
right.
don't
Watching from afar, you know.
yeah, I'm
Hmm.
aware of the brand. It's not
Yeah.
my cuppa, if you will.
Wow, it launched on my birthday in 1991. That's crazy.
In 1991?
It launched as Court TV.
Oh, you meant True TV, not the Impractical Jokers.
Oh yeah, no, I did mean that.
I was stunned. I was stunned that the Impractical Jokers have been doing it for 30 plus years, 35 years.
Practical Jokers originally aired in 2011. Was the
Still
first
a lot
release
earlier than I would have
of,
guessed.
of
15
2011.
years?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 12 seasons, 288 episodes, plus 40 plus specials.
Did one of them get arrested or something? And one of them have like a like a
I think somebody
messy
had. Yeah.
breakup or something as well. I think
Yeah.
there were different severity. Who cares? That's the question we're asking. I'm gonna read some.
Semantics.
I'm gonna read some comments that I enjoyed during the break from Scott. All my homies love Sammy Watkins. It's just a better way to live. Just
Sure.
go after
Yeah.
that. Mizzou 19 says, just FYI, Dane Brugler was the first person I heard talking about some of Rasheed Rice's stuff leading up through the draft prospect, the red flags and all of that. So he should be seen as quite credible. Yeah, totally. Again, Brugler is one of the few people in the like national draft insider game who will have stuff that other people don't have because as far as I can tell, he just does all of the work and writes a book about it every year, and he has all of the connections, and he's not relying on other people for like scoops and agent favors or whatever. Like, so yeah, no, I think Dane is the draft analyst's draft analyst. Like I think like
Mm.
that's who like the lab guys will tip their cap to, unless if I'm missing some like Dane Brugler beef. It would be such a hilarious time to find that out.
No, it'd be
Um,
crazy, but no, you're good. You're cutting it
no,
clear.
no one, as far as I can tell, no one worth your respect has anything but respect for Dane Brugler. Like it just seems like he's
Right.
on his own level. In some of the trade up conversation, Jackie says just from everyone in the draft community, it does not sound like teams are thirsty to trade up. That's a good point in the way that we're always talking about, like, hey, if the board falls bad for you at 9, maybe you hop out of there. I don't think anybody's trading up to 9 for Ty Simpson. I'll let you give.
No, because he'll be gone already because he'll be first.
He's going to. He should at least go 2. The Jets should just take him. That'd be great for us. I'd love for that dream to come back alive. So yeah, I that's always something that we all want to do. Of like, well, maybe the Chiefs should trade up because there's going to be one player left. Like, well, that team's probably going to take that player. Or the Chiefs should trade back because the board stinks. Well, everybody else realizes that the board stinks. It's just, obviously, there will be moves around there that happen. It's just really hard to project those because you got to figure out who's trading up and for who and at what cost. You got to be able to answer that from both sides. And then Evan says, give me Tate, trade up for Sadiq, take Banks at 40 and call it a day. I will say the one player who I'm surprised hasn't gotten more Chiefy smoke so far is Kenyon Sadiq. It might just be that he's kind of clearly going not top 10, but within the next 10 picks after that, where the Chiefs just don't have a selection. But he's the one right now where if you fast forward the draft day and you said, hey, the Chiefs just shocked the world, and all the edge rushers were gone, and all the receivers they liked were gone, so they took Kenyon Sadiq at 9, I would be, in my soul, I would be thrilled. Because it would be, oh, God, they think they got it. Do they? I don't know. Is he going to be worth that pick? I don't know. But if Brett Veach and Andy Reid had to go up to the folding table in Arrowhead that night and say, yeah, we just took Kenyon Sadiq at 9 overall because we think he's one of the 3 best playmakers in this draft, and he was the best guy there, and we wanted to learn from Travis Kelce for a year. Any questions? Yeah. I'd be like, hell yeah, brother. No further questions from me. But also, if they pass on the more consensus top 10 prospects to make that happen, it would be a little bit alarming. I just don't know that there are 8 guys who I'm thrilled for the Chiefs to select at 9, assuming Mendoza goes 1 and Ty Simpson doesn't go 2.
I do think that when the Kenyon Sadiq conversation, I think he just kind of falls in that no man's land for the Chiefs. And like if he got to 29, they'd be incredibly lucky if he got to 29. And it would be. I think you're right. If it was Bailey's gone, Bain's gone, Tate's gone, Lemon's gone, I'm not really a Tyson guy, but I can see the vision with Tyson, right? Yeah. If you had those 4 guys gone, even I don't know if I want to go as far as saying even if Caleb Downs is on the board, I'd be okay with them taking Kenyon Sadiq. But because again, you're getting into the conversation there with positional value, and like the right tackle is the same conversation with positional value. You're really going to try to sell us that your offseason was a home run slam dunk, but you only got non-premium positions in free agency, and you still have premium needs at both edge and wide receiver. Yes. And I guarantee you, if they do end up with Kenyon Sadiq, and if it is that, like the board's that way, they're like, well, we really see him as a wide receiver. He's really more of a pass catching option.
That would knock me down a peg for sure. Yeah. Let's answer this from Jackie then. Tight end 1, DB 1, or OT 1. If the first 8, if it's just Mendoza and then 7 pass catch, it's Mendoza, Love, and all the receivers and the top 3 receivers and the top 3 pass rushers. You know what's last on my list? OT 1.
Yeah,
I'm gonna plant my flag as hard as I can, and I'm gonna be loud wrong when it happens. Again, I'm just telling you what I would do.
Probably DB1, tight end 1, they're like neck and neck, because those I'd feel the same about the both of them. Just like, okay, fine, would be kind of like what I would feel like. All right, yes. You do have a need there, like I get it. Offensive tackle 1 would be a little bit of a bummer though too. But like again, in the same regard, you kind of have a need there because there's not a clear future there. So like I get it, but do I like it? No.
Sonny Styles is on the board in this mock we're doing too, Tucker. I mean, you can go LB1 if you want. I mean,
sure. Then you can cut Bolton next year and then just pay Sonny Styles and Nick Bolton money.
I feel like then you can spend all that money on whoever the wide receiver free agent next year is,
right?
And just get
Jake
your
Bobo.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah,
get your Jake Bobo. Yeah. It's kind of a fun. So this is where I am separating my emotions from my like actual analysis of what I think is most likely to work. I would be the most excited. I would have the most fun with Sadiq. Because, again, it would be the story you tell is, oh, okay, well, the receivers weren't there, and the Chiefs said, we're going to just give Patrick Mahomes his new number one weapon. We're going to let him know who that is right now. And it is Kenyon Sadiq. Congratulations. You're going from Travis Kelce to Kenyon Sadiq, and you're going to have fun doing it. You're going to have 1 year with both of them on the field together. That's a fun vision. It's probably not wise team building.
Sure.
But I think Caleb Downs is a similar argument of like, that's fun. I don't know if it's wise. I don't think it would be a disappointment though, to Adam's question. Like, would Caleb Downs be a disappointment? I think that's too strong.
To Matty Lane it would be.
Yeah, well he's strong enough to handle that kind of disappointment. It's too strong for me. It's not too strong for Matty.
Yeah, I wouldn't be, because he is a good football player, but he is just like a touch under. He's a bit undersized, and you're gonna have to rely on him being an outlier. He has to be like Tyrann Mathieu now. Then you're like, okay, did he play like Tyrann Mathieu in college? Like, yeah, he's pretty good in college. Was he Tyrann Mathieu though?
And is Tyrann Mathieu going 9 overall? If he's obviously, if you know who he's gonna be, which you don't when you're drafting, no one does.
Kyle Hamilton doesn't go 9 overall.
Right.
Just saying.
It's really this whole section of the offseason, it's madness. We're all going to lose our mind. Speaking of, did you upload the clip here?
Oh yeah, it's loaded. It's loaded.
I'm just gonna let you set it up however you see fit. I have seen this clip and it's spectacular. What are the people about to see or hear here, Tucker?
So on this morning on that football show, Verder and I actually recorded this, a little peek behind the curtain, before the St. John's game. So this was actually, I think, like we recorded this at like 12:30 as I think what time we said we were going to record. And we had time we hopped on the call, but I think we probably started recording around 1 because that's just kind of how things roll. Him and I just got to chatting, but we were recording this, and this was early on in the show. Yesterday around 1, we were talking about kind of this time of the year, Josh, and kind of what we were talking about on this podcast. I got kind of, we're in no man's land right now. We aren't close enough to really start hammering into like what are the Chiefs gonna have at round 5 of the draft? You know, like round 5. What does day 3 look like? We don't really want to dive into day 3 of the draft yet. We've talked a lot about day 1 of the draft and pick 9, pick 29 to some extent, right? We've talked a lot about that already. Free agency's kind of over. Like anyone who signs now is just like, I don't think the Chiefs are going to sign anybody else because they don't want to risk the comp formula, right? Because after the draft, you get the comp formula. And if they do sign Cam Jordan, they wouldn't have to forfeit anything towards their comp formula. They have like a 7th right now, I think, for next year, which is good because they're going to need that to trade for somebody else from the Jets. They're going to need to give it to the Jets next year. So in this time, Verder and I are just kind of talking about like, man, there's a lot of stuff that goes on during this time, and you just kind of got to be cognizant of it. And here's what Matt had to say.
This is the time of year when you're going to start hearing outrageous shit. Like, hey, you know what? Heard Ty Simpson might go top 5.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
You have looked at the tapes. What are you seeing?
I think Ty Simpson is QB1. I think Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in this class.
It couldn't have been more accurate.
For the audio audience, that, as we've covered, that was recorded midday Sunday.
Yes.
The Dan Orlovsky clip that you heard so masterfully edited in there aired this morning live on Get Up.
Mm-hmm. And it only had to be from Get Up, right? Like it had to be.
It had to be.
It was when we'd been tagged in that several times. I think if you go to the Get Up replies, you can kind of see like just us, and then also Chase Daniel trying to promote his own YouTube video underneath. You just see people tagging us and Chase Daniel trying to self-promote. He's like, "Well, I said this earlier. I already said this. Please click on my YouTube video." I love Chase, but golly, buddy, let's have some shame here. Let's bring back shame. We need to have public humiliation needs to come back into the fold.
It is back, but but it only airs on Get Up.
I mean, it's horrible. He wants to be on Get Up so bad. I'm sorry, Chase. I'll just text him an apology after this because I'm just relentlessly going after him. And then also when I was on Twitter, I saw this Peter Schrager tweet that says, which 3 teams hold the keys to the 2026 NFL Draft? You may be surprised. Using NFL IQ built by AWS Cloud and Next Gen Stats, you can actually see how the data is shaping every move. It's all right here with a link. So he did a 1.5 minute long video ad basically for NFL IQ, which you guessed it.
What do you think we would what would KCSN AI? What would that generate? What could we sell? If we're trying to get in before this bubble bursts?
That's true.
Saying, hey, you want Kent Swanson's food takes and AI Maddie AI.
That's what I thought that was.
You want to get him to scout your kid's flag football tape?
Can I read you the description of NFL IQ?
Yeah, I bet it's awesome.
Go inside the minds of an NFL front office from free agency through the draft with NFL IQ powered by Amazon Quick. And I'm sure you're wondering, what's Amazon Quick? And I Googled it really quick.
What did the AI overview tell you what it is?
And the AI overview, enterprise agnetic AI, a PhD level researcher, a business analyst, and an automation expert in one workspace is what it says.
Where did it get all that information? Probably found it all itself, right?
Yeah, I think so. Amazon Quick. Quick answers your questions and turns those into actions using agentic teammates for research, business insights, and automation. Wow. Okay,
Right.
So that's enough of that.
I want to make sure that you and Verderam get a whiff of this comment from Megan. I believe that Megan has made a mistake, but it's actually not a mistake to me. She said, Get Out must have a wheel they spin with dumb takes, and that's how they choose their takes for the day. I think we should stop calling it Get Up, and we should start calling it Get Out. I think it's no longer the Jordan Peele movie. That's the title of the ESPN TV program that starts airing presumably at 2 a.m. and airs until at least 11 a.m., just based on how often it seems to be on my timeline. It is no longer known as Get Up. It is now known as Get Out.
Get Out. When I see it on my timeline, I say Get Out. I appreciate everyone adjusting or correcting, I should say, my pronunciation of the word agentic.
Agent-ic. Fascinating.
Now that's horrible, actually. Now I hate it even more than I already did because of the word choice that they use. Agent.
Look, dude, just ask it which linebacker to draft like that Super Bowl commercial did, and we're all gonna be happy and healthy, I think,
that was
right?
insane. That was insane. Does it only let me see the Seahawks? Is this what's going on here? I'm trying to just see what it has for. Okay, here we go. Chiefs.
Adam says Wheel of Fortune, but it's Wheel of Takes, and they just have to defend whatever it lands on, high school debate style. Wow. I don't know if this was a Lebitard bit or a bit that I did on radio at one point. That might have been an AES bit at some point. I don't know. Like I think we've literally done this. Scott says, I feel like the KCSN AI would end up slightly sexual because of Nate's innuendos.
Yes.
Hey, Scott, all the AI end up sexual. That's, as far as I can tell, that might be the point.
I just looked at this NFL IQ. Top 5 free agency team needs entering free agency. You want to see it?
Yeah, love to hear about this. Yeah.
All right. This is, again, NFL IQ. This is...
We're
powered
inside
by
the minds of NFL general managers.
Yeah, you are pretty much Brett Veach with NFL IQ.
Because you're Brett Veach plus the other 31 GMs in one tool.
100%. Amazon AWS, Amazon Quick, Next Gen Stats. Top 5 team needs entering free agency according to NFL IQ. Tight end, running back, wide receiver, cornerback, offensive line.
I'm gonna see just so I can get into the future faster. I'm gonna actually take this USB-C cable and I'm gonna just jam it into my eye live on the video here.
Okay, yeah.
And just see if with the diabetes and stuff, I've already got multiple cybernetic devices here. If I could just, it's upside down maybe.
And that's not in alphabetical order either. I would just want to point that out.
Run through it again.
Tight end, running back, wide receiver, cornerback, offensive line. Those are their top 5 needs, according to NFL IQ.
Was there anything missing on that list that we've talked about for most of today's show and most of the last couple months?
I think they got it. I think that's good.
I'm just trying to figure out the best. Maybe if I jam it into my, like thumb drives are a thing. Maybe if I just shove it under my thumbnail. I just need to freaking jack into the matrix so I can be that smart.
Yeah. I mean, I am.
There we go.
I'm at a loss of words, I think. Maybe we don't need AI. Let's see who. Oh, okay, cool, good. All right. So according to this, the Chiefs are going to take Jeremiah Love in the draft.
Hey, Todd McShay said they can still do it. So I mean,
This is awesome. This is great.
I think this is good stuff.
This is good. No, this is great. When was the last time this was updated, by the way? Oh, okay.
Somebody's at the door and the dogs are freaking out. I don't even feel like I need to mute because I feel like they're just interrupting a conversation about NFL IQ AI. And at this point, I assume that whatever podcasting app everyone's using to listen to this through, that it's got an AI feature that removes dog barking from the background of podcasts.
I will say, I went over to their team needs section on here on this NFL IQ for the Chiefs. They said tight end, done. They re-signed Travis Kelce. Running back, done. Wide receiver, they still need it. Cornerback, they still need it. They still need offensive line, too.
Nothing Ty Simpson can't fix.
That's a great point.
He's going top 10, go 9.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Just was insulted because it has their starting right tackle projected as Wanya Morris.
Why do you want to let this machine also be your therapist? I don't understand. What front office is the most likely to use an AI to approve its picks before it submits them?
Raiders, probably.
Oh, that's good. I was thinking Jets, Browns early on, but the Raiders are very good.
Yeah, no, I think that the Jets. Well, because he did use Madden, remember, to say if the trade was okay. He used Madden to see if.
Completely forgot about that. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
Woody Johnson. Shout out Woody Johnson. He's like, wait, would Madden accept this trade? Yeah, let me do it. The Browns is a good one, though. A lot of people in the chat are saying the Browns.
You're right. That's a great pick. While I might have used the 3rd overall pick on a pass rusher.
Because AI will never tell you that you're wrong.
Never! Never! I did see a tweet somewhere, and I'm sorry if this ends up really offending anyone or hitting too close to home anyone who listens to this show, but I can't imagine it will. I did see a tweet. Someone was like, one thing we're not talking about with the AI chatbot nightmare is that it might be the only time that some people are being told that they are right. And they're correct about something. And it doesn't know how many R's are in strawberry, Like some of those videos are great. Some of that is delightful. And it would be funny if it wasn't so existentially horrifying.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear you know about this because I texted you about it, but Alec was making a joke about jacking it into the Matrix. Do you want to? Oh, and I want to tell you and the rest of the world what I did this weekend.
Okay, lay it on me.
Did this a year ago as well for the aforementioned Alec's birthday. Alec with a C, not with an X. That's possessive. And for Alec's birthday, 2 years in a row, we have done a barbecue crawl in the Kansas City area. We've gone to different locations now. All of these are different from last year's. Last year, I believe he scheduled 7, and we ended up making it to 6 because it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
This year we made it to 5, and I'll give you my my rundown here of the order and how it went for me. Started at Char Bar with ribs and their barbecue pit beans. Great way to start.
Yeah.
Probably in part because it was the only time all day that I was eating food while hungry, because that stopped immediately after eating at Char Bar.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody had like a rib or two, and we had some of the beans. Really excellent. Char Bar's great. We went from Char Bar to Arthur Bryant's, where we got sandwiches and fries. Also great. I will say the burn ends. I got burn ends on the sandwich. I wish I would have just done the brisket there. I never had the Arthur Bryant's burnt ends before, at least not to my knowledge. And I like to test that. Places do it differently. Burn ends there just okay. Fries were immaculate. But it was like, hey, get a sandwich and fries and like split it with your partner. And so Renee and I, she had some of it, I had most of it, and then we went on to Gates for our third stop of the day, where we ordered a significantly smaller amount of burnt end mac and cheese, which was delicious, and potato salad, which was very good. At this point now, though, there are 8 of us with just like 2 dishes of mac and cheese and 2 dishes of potato salad, and everybody has like a fork, and we're just like, I've got 3 bites in me here, but we're about to hit critical mass.
Yeah.
So then we went to a place called F325 Barbecue, up north a little further. I think it's a newer place. I don't want to blame it for its spot in the lineup. Batting cleanup in a barbecue crawl is a really tough spot in the lineup. It is hard to keep the spark in your eye and the space in your stomach on your 4th barbecue stop of the day. So we did their loaded tots and their fried pickles. Good. I just didn't have it in me at that point. Right. I mean, it really is a matter of like telling the waitress, like, hey, this is our 4th stop of the day. If we could just get 2 orders of these for the tables, and we're just gonna, I'm sorry, we look hungover. It's purely based off of meat.
Yeah.
And then we ended at County Road Ice House for their banana pudding, which was maybe the best thing I had all day. In part because it wasn't pure potato or meat in a way that felt like my official diagnosis was that the ribs and beans at Char Bar and the banana pudding at County Road Ice House were the only 2 times during the day when I felt better after eating that dish than I did before eating that dish. Okay. Because 2 through 4 was just, look, you're just getting pounded by meat. It's just it's just the truth of the matter. Yeah. And the banana pudding was a real find. I didn't know that. I never had that there. Didn't know that County Road had that banana pudding in them. You know what? Also, hot take. It's better than the banana pudding at Q39, which I had unrelated like a week prior. So there's some barbecue takes for you for the end of the show today. Tucker, your thoughts?
I think that's a phenomenal idea. Alec, when you sent us the list last year, we were all kind of astonished.
Yeah, it was astonishing.
Yeah, I was. We were all jealous, and something that we would love to do. I did see Scott says dispensary crawl. There's other different crawls that you can do.
That would have been better, I think.
Yeah, I mean it would have been something. There's a bunch of different. I love a good crawl, especially when you're just pounding meat. You know, I love a good crawl after pounding meat.
The Meat Sweat Meat 2026 is very good.
Ooh.
And it's Alex says also, just because it's already started in the chat. Last year we did Joe's Q39 and Jack Stack, and a couple others that he didn't mention there. But just to at least clarify that we've I think hit the staples,
the big ones, yeah.
A lot of the big guns. Man, I just can't imagine doing this again ever. And this year I was much more hostile towards Alec because we all knew what we were in for, and he knew what he was doing to us, but also his argument was, well, you showed up again, and that really did sort of set me. So next year I think I'm just gonna boycott. I think I'm just gonna no-show. I'm gonna no-show next year, just as like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Meet and greet is phenomenal.
Call it a meet and greet is very funny, Kangaroo.
That is really good. Thinking of things that we can do for like KCSN get-togethers. If we called a meet and greet and just have barbecue there, that'd be pretty good.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Well, it's crazy that we haven't done that yet. Actually, why haven't we called it a meet and greet? Well,
and then how'd the food be?
Just serve nothing but like a salad bar.
Right. Just meet and greet.
Welcome to the KCSN Meet and Greet. we have some greenery over here. We've got a smoothie
fruit
bar.
Tray. We got a fruit tray over
We got
there.
a fruit tray. You got some yogurt.
Uh-huh.
We got desserts.
Seamus
And then
says,
over here's Kent Swanson and Natty Lane.
Seamus says Sunday after the draft, keep an eye out on the KCSN socials. We'll have something out this week about something after the draft. So we will have draft plans out very soon. I'm actually working on a graphic as of now.
That's great.
When Josh was talking, I was working on a graphic.
Steven says KC Star had a Meat Madness barbecue tournament. That's great. That's what we could have called this episode of the show today, I guess.
Meat Madness, yeah.
Bringing Meat Madness to the NFL draft.
I need to go have some Meat Madness, I think.
Well, I'm going to let you do that off stream. So that'll do it for us here. That'll do it for us here on this edition of Everything Else. Anything else from you, Tucker, before we get out of here?
Nope.
Me neither. All right, everybody. Don't read too many mock drafts. We'll be back on Friday. Tuesday, I think tomorrow, only weird game. Should be back at full strength. We'll talk about Kairos Tonga and talk about the beef there in the middle of the defensive line. Oh, Alec is inviting you next year, Tucker. I think that would. I'll tell you what. You would be an incredible. You'd be an incredible boost to the morale. We gotta have some fresh blood every year.
That's fair.
Because I can't. I mean, at some point, I'm gonna be a multi-year veteran.
Sure.
Of
grizzled.
this.
And it's part of my youth, well, not necessarily youthful, but just my naiveness of what it goes into it. You guys know it's all behind it, but my naivety, I don't know if that's a real word. It is now. Yeah. Will fuel you guys and be like, this little guy doesn't know what's coming.
That's because really we could have doubled down at Char Bar at the opening gates there, but we knew what was coming. If you really just show up with your eyes bigger than your stomach, so to speak, you could really we might just have to carry you around stops 3 through 5, and that would also be great content. So
and a chariot.
You should come next year. We'll get you a chariot and a GoPro, and I think there's something to be done there. And we're not gonna run out of restaurants anytime soon. We're gonna have plenty of options, even though it is a atrocious idea.
Yeah.
Seamus says Josh is going into contract extensions and they don't know if they can pay him enough. Tucker's the high draft pick incoming. I'll tell you what, man. That's hey, Alec, pay me. Pay me or pick Tucker and let me go hit the open market and I'll go do the dispensary crawl we were talking about earlier. All right. That's the end of the show. Thanks, Tucker. We'll talk to you again on Friday. I got more shows too. Don't read any mock drafts, and for the love of God, don't go to 5 barbecue restaurants in one day. Bye, Mom. Alex says he has $16. I know exactly where those $16 came from. This also happened on Saturday. The $16 moved the needle for you, Tucker. At least a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What do you do for $16?
In this economy, I mean, what won't I do?
That's like a gallon of gas. Scott, I couldn't do a Chinese food crawl. It was already a lot of carbs with the barbecue.
Chinese food
I couldn't eat rice and lo mein 5 times in one day. Started reading more of these comments and I was scrolling up, and all of the comments about AI adjacent things made me sad all over again.
Yeah.
Dude, how long do you think it's going to be before Fanatics launches an AI assistant?
They've got to already have one. I think it's already there. They just did a flag football classic that they couldn't do in Saudi Arabia, I guess, because of a war or something.
What?
I don't know. Who knows?
Here we go. April 4th, 2025, Sports Business. Fanatics leans into AI to improve merchandise sales.
God.
Certainly not improving merchandise quality. Can I read you the first line of this? Justin Tsai, his last name ends with AI, by the way. Justin Tsai doesn't expect artificial intelligence to fix everything. Quote, I'm not walking around with a big AI stick looking to use it. Meet madness.